Good morning, everybody. It's Bella Lapwood, the village agent from Mendip West, and today I'm joined by Johnny Halliday. We are going to be discussing grants that are available for pupils in the Taunton Deane area, and Johnny's going to be discussing the Unlocking Potential Somerset. So I'll just go over a quick brief of the Bishop's Fox Educational Foundation, and then Johnny can get into what he is here to talk about. So the Bishop's Fox Educational Foundation is administered by CCS. It's there to help with grants to buy musical instruments or uniform. Schools can access the grant and individuals can access the grant. The schools can also apply for emergency funding for students at the moment. If you grew up in the Taunton Deane area and you're going to university and you need help with funding for books or something like that, then the Bishop's Fox Foundation can also help you with that. It is for students aged 11 to 24 in financial need, and you have to live or have lived, if you're off to university, in the Taunton Deane area. There are some application deadlines, the next one being the 2nd of November 2020, and the following one is the 11th of January 2021. Hannah hopefully will post all of the website address for the Bishop's Fox Foundation, and if there's any questions with regards to the Bishop's Fox Foundation, they can be directed to Geraldine, who is in the office, and she's geraldine@somersetrcc.org.uk. Hopefully that will be posted in the comments as well. So now we'll get on to Johnny and his Unlocking Potential Somerset. So Johnny has had a business career and seen him spend over 40 years in finance, leasing and related software and service industries in the UK and internationally. He and his wife, Sian, returned to his home near Taunton in the early 1990s to help manage the family farming and property business, as well as bring up their two boys in beautiful surroundings of the Blackdown Hills. Today, Johnny has a small asset finance consultancy practice, and he is involved in both a leasing industry charity via AFPA Trust, which raises money for small charities, and he is currently chairs the Somerset High Sheriff's charity Crime Beat Trust. Unlocking Potential Somerset is an initiative of past, present and future High Sheriffs, and Johnny has continued as an ambassador and fundraising since his time at Somerset High Sheriffs in 2019-20. So, Johnny, if you would like to just go over a bit of Unlocking Potential Somerset and how it is that you're involved with things, that would be great.
Fantastic. Bella, thank you very much for inviting me along. I hope everyone can hear me all right. And I can see one or two comments coming in already. Good morning, Julie. Thank you for your well wishes. And I hope I'm talking to other people as well and they can hear me as well. Maybe you could let Bella know if there's a problem with sound. But what I thought I'd do is I just introduce a little bit of background to what is a High Sheriff. That's the signature behind me. The themes of my past year, a few highlights to give you some ideas of what I got up to in my year, and then come on to talk about unlocking potential and its expansion of the programme Taunton Deane Schools in this academic year, with particular thanks to the Bishop Fox Educational Foundation for their funding support in our expansion of the programme. I think the way we're going to do this is Bella's going to make a note of any questions that come up on the comments, and unless there's a pressing need to stop, I'll talk for 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll have some question and answers. That's what Bella and I discussed just now, anyway. So a little bit of background on what is a High Sheriff. Many people have not heard of the word High Sheriff, and they think of the OK Corral or the Sheriff of Nottingham, things like that. But actually, the role of High Sheriff goes back over 1,000 years, and it's the oldest title in the country after the sovereign themselves. I came into office just over, 18 months ago, and my role was for 1 year only. So what has changed in the last 1,000 years is that we no longer have the power to send people to prison. We no longer have the ability to raise a posse and chase criminals across the county. Today, our home sheriff is purely ceremonial, but it does give huge access to a lot of people across the county to try and help with things such as unlocking potential Somerset. In my year in office, had a great privilege to meet Her Majesty the Queen 4 days into my role on Castle Cary Station when she visited Somerset. And you could say, how do you beat that? What you have to do is you have to meet lots of members of the royal family as they come to the county to say thank you to many of the volunteers and community support staff who do wonderful things across the county. You're also asked to be an active supporter of the police and other blue light services such as fire and rescue and the ambulance services. In a normal year, such as mine, you're able to attend lots of events, and I think without putting a number on it, I probably attended over 200 events during my year, representing the county as the county's high sheriff. You also get to meet lots of high court judges and attend courts to understand what is going on in the criminal world. And I had the pleasure of doing that in both Bristol and Exeter, because obviously we don't have a high court, we have a crown court in Taunton. So I attended Taunton straight court on a number of occasions. You also interact with local government at Somerset level, and my role covers the historic county of Somerset, which is both Bath and North East Somerset, North Somerset, and obviously Somerset, the county council area of Somerset as well. You have to get used to the Avon and Somerset Police, the Devon and Somerset Fire Services, and how all these agencies interact across our beautiful county of nearly 1 million people who live in rural Somerset. My themes for the year were really centered around unlocking potential Somerset, which was the High Sheriff's Initiative started by my predecessor in 2019, and I'll explain that in a bit more detail later on. But in essence, it's designed to help 13 and 14-year-olds who are going into year 9 get some aspiration, get some potential to do well at their GCSEs and look to a future in either further education or higher education, rather than just going straight into the job market at 16 or 17. But I'll explain that in more detail. The second thing was very much to work with the voluntary sector and to meet volunteers, charities, and community sectors, and recognise those sectors and say thank you to many of them for all the work they did. So that was the second theme of my year, and the third was to work with the Somerset Police Cadets, who are a wonderful group of 30 plus young people who are aspiring possibly to go into the police later on in their post-school age and in their career. So those are the themes that I was working on. Just to cover a few highlights, I mentioned meeting Her Majesty 4 days after I came to office, which was a real, obviously, fantastic thing to do. And then I had the privilege of meeting Princess Anne on 4 occasions. First of all, when she opened the hydrographic office in Taunton, which is a real eye-opener for me, the fact that this is employing over 800 people in our county town. And I think it's not enough people know about the potential of underwater and what happens in the sea, which covers 2/3 of our world. And if anyone's looking for a career, that is a fantastic organisation to work for. So I would encourage young people to look at that if they can. Meeting Princess Anne was quite amusing because they're all standing outside the new hydrographic office building, and as she arrives, the heavens open and it comes down in buckets of rain. And immediately she applies the human touch by saying, "Right, everyone, inside, inside." So no standing on ceremony. We march inside as instructed by Princess Anne, and mop ourselves off. We're covered in rain, including herself. But she's a real human being, a real asset to the monarchy. We then met Prince Charles and Camilla down on Exmoor when they were celebrating 70 years of the national parks. One highlight there was we had to sing happy birthday to Camilla, who Prince Charles couldn't stop smiling because she was actually 2 years older than the national parks. But we sang her we gave her a cake, and over 500 people attended that event. It was a fabulous occasion to celebrate the national park. Then I just want to mention, I know we won't lose sight of coming on to Unlocking Potential, but I work very closely with both Somerset Community Foundation and Somerset Community Foundation in meeting charities from Bath. I met the Mentoring Plus in Bath. I met the Help the Aged in Bath. I attended a cafe for disabled young people who are providing a wonderful service to their community and getting a job and earning money from that. I also visited for example, Roadwater Storage in Exmoor, the Compass Everyday charity here in Taunton, and Trident Community in Galmington. So just a few examples, along with On Your Bike, which is a wonderful charity I'm sure many of you know about in both Taunton and Bridgewater. So, Somerset Community Foundation and Quartet were very helpful in giving me some time to meet charities I wouldn't have had access to without their help. Another highlight was meeting over 30 cultures on Taunton Together and opening that event last year at the Albemarle Centre, where we were able to bring together many charities, many cultures, and different ways of life, and celebrate them in Taunton at Taunton Together. That was a very enjoyable day. I had to dress up in my regalia at that event, and then I was made to do silly dances from all the different cultures. So making a fool of myself was part of that day. Then we come on to part of the role, just to let you know, one of the ceremonial roles we do is to go to Taunton Registrar and welcome people to the United Kingdom. And despite all the noise of Brexit going on, I attended two events where we had over 60 people who wanted to become British citizens. So that was a great honour to do that, and a great privilege, and nice to see so many people from different walks of life and different parts of the world wanting to become British citizens and doing it in Taunton and becoming Somerset citizens as well. Another important role is to say thank you to the police, and I made awards, High Sheriff Community Awards, to a number of unsung heroes from Frome to Somerset, the Somerset West and Sedgemoor, from officers who have been in the force doing their jobs behind the scenes excellently. Probably my highlight of my year was saying thank you to over 600 people at Wells Cathedral, our Somerset Cathedral, in February, through the storm of era, if you remember it, back in February. We had over 600 people attend the cathedral to be recognised and say thank you to all they do in the community. We didn't probably know at that stage what was round the corner with the upcoming pandemic, but it really was a good thing to be able to say thank you to people who go above and beyond the call of duty and are real unsung heroes in the community. And I hope we can repeat that in a pandemic-friendly way post all the uncertainty we have at the moment, maybe next year with next year's High Sheriff. Because it's a very important thing to do, to say thank you to people who give their time, which I'm sure a lot of you on this call will know very well. So that's probably enough about tonight. I think I was just going to say I was able to give out some community awards to volunteers. Susie Wilkinson from FDN Farming Community Network, you may know her. Lieutenant Teresa Tor from Taunton Salvation Army. Katie Massey from Mentoring Plus. Jill Brown from Children's Hospice Southwest. And Peter Renshaw, who's a serial entrepreneur, supporter of many different charities in Taunton and in the surrounding area. So let me come on to, if I haven't told you too much about the background of my sheriff, let me come on to Unlocking Potential Somerset and how that fits in with Bishop Knox Education Foundation, which is obviously administered by CCF, I believe, Bella. Right. Are there any questions at this point, or shall I just keep going?
You can keep going. There is no questions that have come in so far. We've got a few people watching, and right. If you feel you have a question, then please feel free to pop it in the comments box and we'll answer them.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Bella. Right. So Unlocking Potential Somerset, how did it come about, and why did it come about? As High Sheriffs, we have a group of 6 of us, 3 who are about to come into office, the High Sheriff and 2 more, 7 actually in total. And we sit together 4 times a year in a group called Crime Beat Trust, which is the current name for the Somerset High Sheriff charity. Historically, we've given out small grants to community grants, and those are still available to community and village agents who would like to apply through the Somerset Community Foundation for things like goalposts for summer activities, the drugs bus coming to the town to teach the kids about the dangers of drugs, things like that, and many other initiatives, youth work and things like that. So we look kindly on grants between £500 and £1,500 if you want to apply to us, Somerset Community Foundation. At the moment, all the efforts of Somerset Community Foundation are going into helping charities with the emergency funding, and they're doing a great job, having, I think, distributed over £1 million to charities across Somerset during the pandemic. We also have a PCSO fund for police and community support officers, and that's a specialist fund of £250 to £500 for activities that PCSOs want to put on, particularly with young people, to keep them away from crime and give them a straight and narrow path. But apart from that, what we found by 2018 is that we wanted to be a bit more strategic and look at an initiative called Unlocking Potential Somerset. This was born out by my predecessor, who was chair of an organisation called South Bristol Youth, who for the last 7 years have been successfully running programmes in secondary schools in the more deprived areas of South Bristol. So I with my future chairs, attended a number of school days where they were doing public speaking training, they were doing visits to apprenticeship visits to employers, they were having tests and writing CVs and things like that. And this is supported by over 30 schools in South Bristol and South Gloucestershire. So we decided as a group that this was a very good initiative and we'd like to bring it to Somerset. Now, the previous High Sheriff of Somerset, Dennis Byrne, had been North Somerset, and he decided the first 2 places to go to were to Weston-super-Mare and to Bridgewater. And he raised a staggering amount of money, over 200,000, for a 3-year programme in those 2 towns, and that is up and running now. And basically, it's designed to help kids of 13 to 14 years. I'll think about further and higher education, the potential for a work and career paths, higher quality work with local employers, through high quality work with local employers. So What struck me when I visited the schools in South Bristol was how some of the kids really responded positively to being asked to give a 2-minute speech, for example. It was the biggest thing for a 14-year-old to actually look someone in the eye and their classmates, give a talk about the loss of a parent, or a divorce in the family, or aid in the estate, or something like that. And they spoke really eloquently, and with the support of the teacher and the South Bristol Youth staff, they were able to give a speech, look people in the eye, and take the applause, and gain huge self-confidence. And that just one example gave me the feeling that this is a really great thing to be doing with kids, including, particularly from people where there's a single parent family, perhaps, or where there's a disadvantage in the neighborhood and no one's got a particularly good job. How can they find a pathway into a brighter future, whether it's further education or getting into a technical apprenticeship here in Somerset? So that's what it's all about. So what we do is we help them understand the world of work through apprenticeship. So they have about 4 or 5 visits normally in normal times to employers such as Wessex Water, KPMG, Factors, many other employers who are involved in this initiative. We help them with improving communication and presentation skills, as I've just described, with public speaking training. We do team building days out on whether it's on the Quantox or the Mendip. We do days out, all with the necessary safeguarding in place, which is managed successfully by South Bristol Youth, and also in conjunction with the support of the local schools, because as you can imagine, that's very important that we have the support of the local school. We also do personality profiling and CV writing with the kids, and we engage with the parents and guardians both before the event and afterwards to celebrate success. So the typical kids in a classroom, I've probably described them as a cohort of 15, which is the number you can fit in a minibus. I had to understand that before I got on board with that. There's a lot of visiting and going off site. But they're not the kids who sit at the front who are motivated and probably doing the work anyway. They're not necessarily at the back of the class getting all the government funding. They could be moocs or other things. The guys the girls and boys who sit in the middle and perhaps are looking out the window, wondering why they're there, wondering what this academic thing is all about, and what the motivation is. So we're trying by the end of the year of 10 or so events during the year to really give these guys motivation that they will do better in their GCSEs and possibly find a career afterwards. So to give you an example of that process, I'm just going to I want to read from the slide. So forgive me if I'm sounding a bit far away. Hang on. I've got to find the slide now. Here we are. This is just taken from some local programs that we've run. Over 90% of participants in a program consistently report improved confidence. 88% of students report they understand the apprenticeships open and then their skills that are acquired by their employers. Over 90% reported better speaking skills, and many students go on to work experience placements. Now, I'll read you a couple of examples from students who say, ever since I went on this course, my confidence went up and I would go again and work with other people. I want to be an apprentice because I really enjoyed this course. Another one said, this course has definitely helped me in many aspects. It made me more confident, self-aware, and smarter. So, with this sort of background, we've launched in Bridgewater Secondary Schools, Robert Blake Science College, Chiltern Trinity School, Haygrove School, and Bridgewater College Trust, and in Weston-super-Mare in Hans Price School and Broadoak Maths and Computing College. And you'll gather from those areas that if you know those towns, those are largely from less advantaged areas of those towns and those council areas. So the feedback has been terrific. In the first year in Somerset has been terrific. I was really encouraged during my year to try and build on that success. And what I did was manage to raise what is a 3-year program for one school, which is £36,000 during my year. And I approached the Bishop Fox Education Foundation and Geraldine at CCS, as well as the Taunton trustees of the unparished areas of Taunton, who also have funds to give out. Now you'll see if you look at the Bishop Fox Education Foundation, as Bella said, they give out grants for a musical instrument or a uniform or things like that. I don't think they'd done something as grand as £36,000, but I was able to convince them to do that, and I'm very grateful to them and to the Taunton Charter Trustees for also matching that with £36,000. So we've successfully funded for the next 3 years, starting this academic year, we hope, a fund for 3 programs. It'll affect 90 kids in 3 schools, and those 3 schools are the Taunton Academy, Heathfield Community School, and Courtfield Academy in Wellington as well. I am currently acting as an ambassador for the programme, having finished my role as High Sheriff earlier this year, and I'm also in discussion with a couple of other foundations about further funding to extend the programme to other schools in the Taunton Deane area. Now, I appreciate that the audience today is from a wide area of Somerset, and I'm hopeful that successive High Sheriffs will be going on to spread the word and possibly to expand it into other areas of Somerset, including Bath and North East Somerset and East and South Somerset in future. So I know we've shared www.unlockingpotentialsomerset.org.uk about us on the website, but I'm happy to take any questions about the programme, how it's going, what we're up to, and that's probably enough from me, Bella, at this stage. So happy to take any questions.
Okay, so we haven't got any questions that have popped up in the box yet, but we have got, I can see 8 people viewing. So if any of you would like to ask a question, please feel free to put it in the box and we can answer it now. I did have one question. How do the students come to access this program if they want to?
Okay, so it's driven by the schools. You have to get the cooperation of the schools because you're taking them out of school and you're interfering with a very detailed timetable. So you can imagine Heathfield Community School has over 250 year 9 students in 1 year. So to be able to access 15 of them, you have to have the full cooperation of the head of year 9, the head teacher. You don't want to have the same event going on for maths every Monday. You're taking them out of school, otherwise you'll really upset the teachers. So you have to work very closely with the schools, and that's what our partner South Bristol Youth have been doing for the last 7 years, and they're continuing to do in Somerset schools. So that's how it's worked. Work through the schools, not through the pupils. So the teachers will tend to select based on the profile that we've described, the sort of those middling kids who perhaps are not getting the most out of their time at school, but could get a real boost from being part of this program and being recognised.
Hannah's also posted, what's your email address so that people can contact you after our Facebook has ended with any questions that they might have?
Sure. I'm happy to give that. It's johnnyhalliday@yahoo.co.uk. I don't know whether I think Bella, you've got my email, can't you? Haven't you? Do you mind putting it on the content? Sorry, Johnny, Johnny, Halliday all one word, at yahoo.co.uk.
Yeah, there we are. It's in there. So
Brilliant.
yeah, so if there's
Brilliant.
any questions from anybody else, then please do answer them, because if we haven't got any questions in a minute, then we're going to finish up, I think, unless there is anything else specific that you want to say, Johnny.
No, I think nice to meet you virtually, all you fellow village agents. Keep up the great work you do. I know it's fantastically important that I did hear a case the other day of the village hall because they were accessing their Wi-Fi. I think we need to tell people in local parishes that it's very, very important for young people to gather, and obviously they have to be socially distanced as best we can, but be able to access some Wi-Fi because they haven't got it at home. That's terribly important. I'm very sympathetic, and we all are. I support you guys and what you do, and the great work you're doing. So thank you for all you do as village and community agents. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Okay, so we don't have any more questions that are posted in the comments. So if there's any questions that come in afterwards, we'll either forward them to you, Johnny, or people might ask you themselves directly into your email. But that's it from us today. So we are back again next week in Mendip, and we'll look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.